Hello, everyone. I wanted to go over this comment I made about bug off. If people, want to criticize you for another version of the Bible besides the King James, and I want to, explain that a little bit. The King James is very closest to authenticity, yes. But let me tell you a verse. This is what Jesus said to the Pharisees. He said, you'll strain at a gnat, but then you'll swallow a camel. Now think about that. They're straining, and they see a little tiny, teeny, weeny gnat. But yet they'll swallow a whole camel. And basically he's saying to the Pharisees, you're like Paul said, they're only trying to add affliction to my bonds. As we can see, what I talk about a lot, the word, and there's a lot of work to do, and there's a lot of things in there that are almost humanly impossible. And just, say the book of Ephesians or one of those books in the Bible, we could spend a lifetime reading and still not get it right. But Jesus helps us. That's why we'll never be self-sufficient. Okay, so what that verse Jesus is trying to explain is you are putting all this that even us today with the Bible we have, and by the way, that was translated by the Catholics. So the Jews wrote it inspired by God. It was God breathed through these Jews. Then they wrote it down. Then the Catholics kind of rewrote some of those Septuagints or whatever they are in Hebrew and Greek and Aramaic. They went, because they were the ones who held those books. They had, just like they own most of the Holy Land in Israel. But anyway, I'm digressing. Yes, these translations, there's also publishers. Like Tyndale is, if you want to go to this channel called The Parable, they will explain the Bible versions to you. They will explain the publishers. I don't know which video it is, but they have all of their videos are excellent videos on knowledge of everything about the Bible. And they're trustworthy. Okay, so when I talk about these other versions, yes, I do understand that they were written and translated by atheists, homosexuals, reprobates, scientists, scribes and Pharisees. Some are atheistic Jews. I know all that. Okay, I'm old. There was a guy I used to listen to on the radio. His name is Steve Solomon. I don't know if he's still on the radio anymore. It was called Praise in the Night. He went over this about the King James Version. There's the phone. Okay, and then there's a guy named, let me grab his name. Truth is Christ. Truth is Christ. Truth is Christ. That's a guy.
Hello. This is the general mailbox. Please leave a message.
He loves the King James, okay? And that's all he reads, and that's all I like to read too myself. But he has found things in the King James that prove it over and over 1,000 million billion times, just like similar to the Bible code, if that is a good thing or not. But he's not into Bible codes. He's into he can just prove the King James is the best. But there are two other versions that were before that. And then there's even another version before those two older versions. I think it's the Geneva Bible and something else like Holman but anyway, God was Jesus, God, was talking to these Pharisees about, you strain at a gnat, but you'll swallow a camel. If you want to, pound into people, don't listen to Bethel music, don't read any other versions. But the point Jesus is making is, you have not done the main thing, which is like in Malachi or Micah, to walk justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God. You're not walking humbly and you're not practicing justice and mercy when you are binding people with laws of, it's got to be only the King James, and it's got to be, now I agree it should be only the King James, but there are people out there, oh, and there's another verse, some eat herbs while others eat meat. And it says, do not despise the ones that eat herbs. And then the ones that eat herbs, don't despise those who eat meat. Now, some say, oh, he's talking strictly about food and offenses on the foods people eat. Because some are vegetarians and like these, Seventh-day Adventists. Anyway, but to me, the way because God is multifaceted, some things are doctrinally, they have to stay what they are. They are what they are. Yes, I understand that. And you cannot deviate. But some verses like that one, some eat herbs, some eat meat, is sort of like a little poetic thing where you can like pontificate kind of on that verse, and others similar where they can relate to something else. So if you've got somebody who is a baby or whatever, and they're on milk and they need some herbs, and they come from a background that is outrageous and they can't even begin. Now, I understand the Holy Spirit can open up that King James and they can understand everything in it, but there yet are others who cannot. And would you like to just say, oh, well, good, if you don't understand it, if the Holy Spirit ain't speaking and explaining it to you, then go to hell. You're not worthy. You aren't chosen, and you can't be part of the kingdom then. Oh, goodness gracious. That is not going to happen. So if there's another version, or if they listen to this acid rock that's Christian, and oh, that's horrible, that's devilish, you don't know that. You don't know that. And you're putting God in a box. And God, he created that music. He created the angel that made that music. He created everything. And he's allowed to take it back. And he is allowed to use anything. If he can save somebody who's drunk and high out of their mind, he can save somebody who is, their mind is so polluted and corrupted by the devil, but they're trying to get to God, and they can feel and be reached through some acid rock or some Bethel music or another translation of the Bible. God is not in a box, and you don't know him. Nobody knows him, the mind of him. Nobody knows his mind. The only thing we know is his word. But if you want to start taking his word and adding affliction to people's bonds, I'm just saying, it's the same with these other religions sitting in those pews of a Catholic or a Seventh-day Adventist or a Jehovah's Witness. The Holy Spirit is talking to them too, y'all. The Holy Spirit talked to all unbelievers and all unsaved people. That's how we were able to come to Christ. So now if they're sitting in that pew and the Holy Spirit is telling them, I've had Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses knock on my door, and I let them in. I've let them in when I've lived with my mother. No, when I lived alone, I did also let them in because it was two women. But, anyway, I have, and I don't have I've got a little sister, the one that was in legalism, and my older brother. They know the other religions inside and out to where they will argue to the death over that stuff and the translations. They know it. They know it, and they used to go out and do that. They would witness to a Jehovah's Witness or a Mormon or a Catholic or this, and they would do the Bible with them and show them and all this, all that. So now I don't know how fruitful they were, but they knew it, and they would do it online as well. So I'm just saying, if somebody is in the wrong religion, which is his religion, they're worshiping religion, the Holy Spirit can guide them out of there. But if they want to take their free will and quench it and listen to their flesh because, oh, this is family or this is then that's on them. Same thing with the translations. If there's translations or music that is reaching them for the moment, trust me, the Holy Spirit is and will. You're not smarter than the Holy Spirit, okay? Nobody is smarter and more powerful than the Holy Spirit. So don't strain it at a gnat and yet swallow a camel. Do first things first, which is to show mercy, walk humbly, have justice. Those Pharisees were not merciful at all. You know, that's one of the gifts of the Spirit is mercy. I took that test, and I remember mine was mercy. Now we can change, because this was when I was suffering from anxiety. No, that was a different time when I was suffering from anxiety. Well, never mind. I'm not going to go there. That was funny because anyway, I had a little bit of everything. And I was like telling the pastor, because this pastor went over it with me. And I'm like, do I have multiple personalities or something? I mean, and I didn't, and I knew I didn't, but I was kind of halfway joking because everything was in equal amounts. I didn't have an abundant number of one or the other. They were all equal out of the 7. And he said, no, you're more like Jesus. And I'm like, well, that was really sweet. That's really relieving, because I had bad anxiety. I had and I've mentioned it a couple times. Anyway, another time I've taken it, mercy and something else were my strongest gifts. But anyway, mercy is basically you're giving people a chance. You just give them a chance. You don't look at them like all pity, showing them pity. Oh, those poor souls, they're so stupid and lost. They don't read the King James. Let me just smile and be nice. No. Showing mercy is you're encouraging them in whatever the Holy Spirit has, told you. It's not always about cramming the Bible down people's throat. It's about, Jesus said, don't say, be ye warmed and filled, and yet you don't give them food and a blanket. Same thing with the Spirit. You don't say, oh, let's talk about the Bible, but let's not talk about any of your problems. No, you got to talk about what people want to talk about. Paul says, I am all things to all men that I might win some. And that's not saying go down in the hole with them and live there, but you can go down in the hole with them for a little bit and pull them out. But it's not by cramming the Bible down their throat. And that's not what I'm doing either. I am doing John 8:31, where when that word abides in you, it will set you free. 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 Choose freedom. Whatever translation it takes. Choose freedom. Abiding in the word. God bless you guys. Love you. Bye.